This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 6th day of October in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. In a late-night address to the nation, Prime Minister Mark Phillips formally announced the liberalization of the telecommunications sector, with the commencement orders being issued. Those orders fully bring into force the Telecommunications Act 2016 and the Public Utilities Commission Act 2016.
The commencement of these acts is nothing less than historic, aligning Guyana's telecommunications regime to those found in other countries in the world, including most Caribbean countries, ending a 30-year-old anti-competitive telecommunications monopoly that have left Guyanese weary, frustrated, and lagging behind in the telecommunications arena.
The move by the government effectively fully opens the telecommunications market in the country, allowing for other major players in the provision of mobile and internet services. The Prime Minister said it is anticipated that Guyanese will feel an immediate positive impact from the implementation of the legislation, which he believes creates a modern and competitive environment for telecommunications, and which will immediately result in greater choices, better quality of service, and lower prices for consumers. At the same time, he said that all operators continue to enjoy all benefits conferred under the old legislative regime.
This decisive step is consistent with our government's vision of furthering national and regional social and economic development. The legislation specifically addresses the expansion of telecommunications networks and services into unserved and underserved areas through the institution of a new Universal Access, Universal Services Program.
The Telecommunications Act 2016 was laid in Parliament back in 2011, but was only enacted in 2016 as negotiations continued with GT&T over its monopoly coming to an end. The Prime Minister said the government of Guyana remains ready and willing to work with all stakeholders to ensure every Guyanese has affordable access to quality and modern services. Over the past few years, GTT, while not opposing liberalization, has indicated that it wants a level playing field to be developed with all of the companies in the sector. The company has complained in the past about paying a much higher tax rate than many of its competitors that were already in the market before the formal liberalization of the sector. On the other side of the break, more on this story. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Design, photography, advertising, you name it, we do it. At Mass Global Media, we offer high-quality, versatile media and marketing solutions that will help your business reach its goals. Contact us now if you want a website developed, graphic design, social media marketing, animation, and much more by emailing info@massglobalmedia.com or call 658-5636. Mass Global Media. Vision, execution, results.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Local and regional mobile service provider Digicel has welcomed the government's announcement of the liberalization of the telecommunications sector in Guyana. Digicel, which has been pushing for a liberalized sector since it entered the market more than a decade ago, believes the move is coming at the right time as Guyana prepares for unprecedented growth and development because of the oil sector. In a statement, the Chief Executive Officer of Digicel, Gregory Dean, said the opening up of the telecom sector in Guyana has been long in the waiting, and his company is pleased that the day is finally here.
To say this day has been a long time coming is an understatement. For 16 years, we have asked, requested, pushed, lobbied, and pressured. Today, finally, that day is here. At Digicel, we firmly believe that access to broadband is a basic human right. Now the people of Guyana can look forward to a brighter future with affordable access to world-class connectivity solutions that can catapult them to the forefront of knowledge and digital economy.
In expressing thanks to the government for its decision, the Digicel CEO said he believes there will now be transformational benefits.
On behalf of my Digicel colleagues, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency Mohammed Irfan Ali and his administration for delivering on their promise to expeditiously liberalize the sector. We are stepping into our future with confidence and are getting ready to make the transformational benefits of high-speed connectivity a powerful reality for Guyanese. We look forward to a short administrative process to grant us the necessary permissions to make the desired expansions and upgrades of our services.
In the past, Digicel said it was forced to scale back many of the services it wanted to offer because of the monopoly. And with last evening's announcement by the government that the telecom sector was formally liberalized, GTT, which has been locked in negotiations about a final end to its monopoly, appears ready to move on. In a brief statement today, the company said it is preparing to roll out major expansion in its services to the people of Guyana, and the expansion will include 5G and other next-generation services. The company said it already has a fiber internet network investment that can go from Guyana to the US and back, according to the company's Chief Executive Officer, Justin Ned.
We expect that with our planned service enhancements, our customers will not be able to discern the difference in service whether they're in New York or Guyana. GTT has been serving Guyana and supporting the evolution of the country for 30 years. As always, we stand ready to provide reliable connectivity, new services and technologies that allow our consumers and businesses alike to thrive and support the growing Guyanese economy.
Mr. Ned said his company looks forward to partnering with the government so that all Guyanese have the benefit of a transparent and competitive telecommunications sector. GTT may have been stepping up its preparations for the liberalized sector. Just recently, the company launched its Together We Rise campaign, which will renew its commitment to helping in Guyana's development while at the same time expanding and developing its services across the country. In the past, the company has said that its monopoly only existed on paper, as other companies were allowed into the market and some were even allowed to bypass its network and interconnect with companies outside of Guyana. GTT believes the liberalization will now level the playing field for players in the market. It wants to see the same level of taxes being paid by all the players and for all of them to follow the same rules. The Deputy Chief Election Officer, Roxanne Myers, was taken into police custody this morning and remains in custody tonight after refusing to answer questions as the police continue the probe into allegations of electoral fraud. Myers is being represented by attorney Nigel Hughes. The attorney told News Source tonight that Ms. Myers has been moved to the Bellevue-Acting police lockups and has been refused station bail.
She is in a cell at BV police station. The police said they're not giving her bail. When she was taken to BV, she was told that she was there for obstruction of justice because she exercised her right to remain silent. I saw Dennis put up something about conspiracy. She was never told about conspiracy to pervert the election. That was never put to her.
Okay, just obstruction of justice.
Yes, and the reason why they said obstruction of justice because she remained silent to the questions that they ask.
In the past weeks, the Guyana Police Force has been taking a number of senior GCOM officials into custody to question them about allegations of electoral fraud. The police recently recommended charges against the Chief Election Officer Keith Lowenfield, who is already facing private criminal charges in relation to the same election probe. The private charges were filed by political representatives of the People's Progressive Party and the New Movement Party. The Director of Public Prosecution has taken over the case. Charges have also been filed against the returning officer for Region 4, Clermont Mingo. In the health sector, in the past 24 hours, Guyana recorded 3 additional coronavirus-related deaths, taking the total number of deaths in the country to 95 as of 6 p.m. tonight. An 84-year-old woman, a 67-year-old man, and a 61-year-old man, who were all from Region 4, represent the latest fatalities. They were all patients in the hospital, according to the Ministry of Health. No other detail was provided by the ministry. The spike in the death rate over the past 2 months has triggered concerns by citizens and very few answers by the health authorities. 75 COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded since the 1st of August, with September being the deadliest month with 41 deaths recorded in those 30 days of September. The health ministry has been saying that persons who have passed away all had underlying conditions. Meanwhile, there were no new cases recorded today as recent results were not available. In a statement, the Health Ministry explained that the unvalidated test results include those received from both public and private laboratories. The validation is expected to be completed overnight and will likely be released in tomorrow's dashboard reporting. Opposition leader Joe Harmon has written to the Prime Minister requesting the immediate removal of businessman Roshan Khan as a member of the Ethnic Relations Commission. Khan, who has been serving in the ERC since 2018, has been making a number of racially insensitive statements on Facebook over the past few weeks, triggering widespread condemnation. In the letter to Prime Minister Phillips, Mr. Harmon said the racist comments by Mr. Khan include direct attacks on Afro-Guyanese, in particular, and attacks on supporters of the APNU-AFC coalition. Mr. Harmon said Guyanese of all walks of life have taken note of the statements made by Mr. Khan on social media, which he described as repeated racist infractions. The APNU-AFC opposition wants Khan to be removed with immediate effect. 3 weeks ago, in a Facebook post, Khan called on Indo-Guyanese in Belize to arm themselves with sticks and weapons to protect themselves and their communities. Most recently, in response to the protest action by nurses, Khan used a Haitian and French Creole term to describe the faces of supporters of the nurses and called on the government to hire nurses from Bangladesh. The Ethnic Relations Commission has distanced itself in the past from Khan, but has said very little else about his repeated racially insensitive statements. Khan is the representative of the Muslim community on the Ethnic Relations Commission. On the police blotter this evening, police investigators are continuing their probe into the death of a 28-year-old Old Boys Town woman after a cutlass attack by her husband. The dead woman has been identified as a mother of 3, Clara Bell Johnson of Cooper Street, Old Boys Town. She worked at the Humphreys Bakery establishment. A police statement said the woman had an early morning row with her husband at around 6:25 this morning. During the argument, the man reportedly armed himself with a cutlass and fired several chops at the woman, including to the back of one of her legs, severing an artery. The woman was rushed to the hospital by neighbors but died while doctors battled to stop the heavy bleeding. The assailant has since gone into hiding. Shocked family members said the young woman endured years of abuse at the hands of her reputed husband, and much of the abuse took place in front of their 3 children.
But he always ill-treat her. He always eat chops in her face. He chops in her face. Then he go and he chops you punch your hand. She even the level kind of funny with the hand. Right? And then now he always come threatening her because she tell him she don't want him. Right? He always coming around. She even to get him locked up. And she get a thing against him. For 10 years he get it. He mustn't come around her. This, we call it order, right? And the thing, when he get locked up, she was so sorry for him. Right? She released him from jail. But still he didn't hear it. He used to come around here, threatening threatening she all the time. Up to yesterday, he was here threatening her.
This evening, family members say they are calling for justice and they want to see the assailant charged and face the court for the woman's death. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Been through it all.
But as a people, we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Belizeans will vote for a new government on the 11th of November, after Prime Minister Dean Barrow, who is bowing out of active politics, announced that he had advised the Governor General Sir Colville Norbert Young to dissolve the National Assembly today. Barrow said he had advised the head of state that the elections will be held on the 11th of November. Nomination day will be October 21. The brief statement from the office of the Prime Minister noted that during the period between the dissolution of National Assembly and the appointment of a Prime Minister after a general election, the government of Belize shall continue to be administered by the Prime Minister and other ministers and ministers of state of the government. Like many other Caribbean countries that have held general elections this year, Belize's poll will also be held during the coronavirus pandemic, which has resulted in some countries implementing various protocols and measures aimed at curbing the spread. Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley has written to the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the European Union on the issue of plans to blacklist Barbados, stating that it is wrong and disproportionate. The Prime Minister said the move by the EU is completely wrong, adding that the EU will be getting banks and their financial institutions to put measures on Barbados, and Barbados believes that most of the banks will say that Barbados is too small. Barbados was required to implement a number of changes to its tax exchange framework between 2015 and 2018 in order to become fully compliant with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's Global Forum standard on the exchange of tax information. However, the changes did not take place in the stipulated time frame, and the necessary legislative framework was put in place by December last year. But that did not save the country from getting a rating of partially compliant. And finally tonight, international news. US President Donald Trump, who has the coronavirus, today said he is ending negotiations over a coronavirus relief bill and will only resume talks after the elections. Budget talks between Democratic Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin had been underway. US stock markets fell immediately after Mr. Trump's announcement. It comes as cases rise in several parts of the US and the outbreak hits top Pentagon military officials, White House staff, and Republican senators. Lawmakers from both parties had hoped for another round of COVID-19 relief spending to pass ahead of the November election. But Mr. Trump's tweet appears to have abruptly suspended that prospect. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting. Have a good night.